Welcome to the Lean Coffee here in Edmonton. We affectionately call LeanYEG. My name is Avel Espiritu, and I will be your facilitator for this morning session. Just to give it a little preamble, in case some of you people are new to us, the Edmonton Lean Community of Practice hosts these Lean Coffee events on the third Friday of every month from September through June. We take a break during summertime. July, August, we don't get a lot of draw there, and our summers are short enough. We don't need to spend it indoors, so let's get out there and enjoy it. So we start back up again, and we typically do them in the mornings from 9 a.m. to about 10-ish. Locations do vary. We do these on site, but since COVID and for the remainder of this season, we are going to be doing these virtual. So during these sessions, Lean practitioners from our local community, we come together and we meet to discuss various Lean issues and lessons learned through a structured agendaless process where the attendees decide the topics of the conversation of the day. Okay. Heads up, save your date in your calendar. Our next Lean Coffee is Friday, June 17th. This is the last one of our season, so save the date. Join our LinkedIn page to get information about it as well too. But this one is going to be a really exciting one. We're going to have a presentation format by Joe Donnarummo, the co-author of the Lean Builder. So if you've Lean in construction and if you've run across that precious little black book called the Lean Builder, it's a really good one. And we're going to have one of the co-authors on there to present on an exciting topic, Lean in construction, and on his book itself. All are welcome to these sessions. We want beginners to the Lean experts. There's no expectation for participation. Some people come to every meeting, others come when they can, and that's A-okay. So to kick it off, I thought we'd do kind of like a round table and just introduce ourselves. A quick intro on who is here, and we'll have a little bit of an icebreaker. Let's see. So I did the randomizer, and this one's a weird one. I haven't done this one before, but what song would best describe yourself or how you approach your work? So we'll go around, introduce yourself, who you are, your company, and a song that you think that would best describe yourself or how you approach work. So I'll begin. My name is Avel Espiritu. I'm with Red 5. I'm a Lean coach and consultant and part of the Lean Community of Practice steering committee. For me, this one was kind of easy. When I first heard it, this song, I was watching Zootopia with my kids. And I was like, this is my theme song, right, in life. And it's Hips Don't Lie by Shakira. No, just kidding. It's a Shakira song though, which was totally outside of my element, but it's called "Try Everything" by Shakira. So if you want to listen to it, it's a really interesting one. And I'll pass the baton on to Shafraz. Shafraz, if you can introduce yourself and what song do you think would best describe you?
This requires research and thinking.
Oh, I know.
Pressure.
But if you think too much on it, then you'll craft it.
Oh dear. Well then, every day is like Sunday.
Oh, okay, nice one.
By the Smiths, or was it Marcy? Tired and gray. At least that was yesterday.
And Shafraz, what company are you with?
I'm with Red 5, and sometimes fall under Ask for a Better World. Awesome. And doing lots of work with Eco-Emo these days. I'm interested in sustainable and net zero carbon neutral buildings and sort of communities. And I will pick, let's see, Christina.
Lucky me. My name's Christina. I work at Gem Cabinets. I'm a process analyst there. I don't listen to music with words, so it's kind of tough for me to pick a song.
Sure, you can pick one without words. That's okay.
I don't know, like Beethoven's Fifth.
Nice. Big crescendo and then a fall down.
There's lots of emotion in there. Yeah. So, who else do we have here? Hang on a second. Oh, I'll pick Sarah.
Hi, morning. I'm Sarah with Ideal. I have two. So first I was thinking Bridge Over Troubled Water. And then when you said Zootopia, I was thinking of the Lego Movie song because I literally sing that all the time at work, right?
Yeah,
So,
everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Totally. That one gets stuck in my head too.
Yeah.
Who should popcorn it to the next person, Sarah?
Sherry, go ahead.
Hi guys, how's it
Hi,
going?
Sherry.
I got audio. Anyways, I'm Cherry, and I'm an administrator at Primoris Canada. And if any song, it's been a long time since I've joined you guys. Right now, I'm currently working. So, if any song that I would certainly that I think will refer to myself, I'm guessing "Born to Be Wild," I suppose.
Whoa, Born to be Wild. Nice.
So, I that's about it.
Great.
Anyways,
Good to see you again, Sherry.
you
And
guys too. It's good to see you guys. It's been a
who do
long
you want to
time.
popcorn it to next?
Yeah.
You got
Anyways,
E or
um,
Karen or Elisa?
yes. Sorry. I would like to pass the baton to V. V.
All right.
V.
Hi, thanks. So I'm V. I'm in Calgary. I'm self-employed. And what I do is I help companies develop and execute business strategy. And when community building is part of their strategy, I can help them with that, as well as lean. If lean, continuous improvement, is part of the business strategy, I can help them develop and execute that. And for me, I've had a little change over the last couple of days. So any song that is praising God, any kind of Christian music, yeah, because that's who I work for, being self-employed.
Nice. Nice. I like that too. A lot of Christian songs, they don't get a lot of play, but I've listened to a couple because I had one acquaintance that came and he was in a celebration church, and he was doing all these songs that were kind of based off covers. I was like, wow, that's catchy. I like that a lot, right? B, who should go next? You have Karen or Elisa?
Oh, Karen, for sure.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Karen Muir, and I'm an architect with RPK Architects. And yeah, I sort of echo Shifraz that this is not something I'm good at coming up with at the top off the top of my head, but I would say one song that kind of comes to mind for me because I'm an optimist is the song "I'm Walking on Sunshine."
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
love that song.
Mm-hmm. I generally have the sunny outlook on stuff, so I think it suits me.
Pretty good for coming off the cuff, Karen.
And I guess Elisa is the last one who hasn't gone yet.
Thanks. Elisa Toby. I operate a freelance bookkeeping business under the trade name of Dubtech Enterprises. And based on the last 2 years, there's been a lot of Crimea River. But this spring, it's a little more singing in the rain.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, we got drenched the other day.
Yeah. Oh, hail here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just really small hail here in Edmonton.
Nice. Nice. Great. I'm happy that everyone participated in the icebreaker. I go in this randomizer and I'm like, okay, I don't know how this one's going to spin out, but we'll try it. I'll try everything. So it worked out great. Thank you everyone for sharing. I really appreciate that. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here. And we'll begin with the lean coffee. All right, so this should be an interactive board for everyone. You should be able to go on there and and do some stuff, and I'll give you a little bit of training as well too. But like I said, this is a structured yet agenda-less meeting, and the agenda is going to be created by ourselves. Now, we're going to create these little Kanbans for our topics. We're gonna brainstorm these topics. We're gonna pitch them to an extent. I'll review them as you guys are brainstorming, and then we're going to vote on these topics. Now, how to vote is I'm going to put it on here on the mirror board here on the which I'm presenting, the team, the interactive session, is we're going to vote. You're going to join the voting, and then each of these little Kanban cards, you're going to have an opportunity to hit those radio buttons and then collect on it to vote. Everyone gets 3 votes, and you can stack your vote on one particular topic, or you can spread them around, or as you're going through, like, oh, I want to edit these topics, you can then, you know, minus and plus everyone around, so that you know you can adjust your votes as well too. If you accidentally leave the voting session, no problem. If you go up to the double down, you can hit the voting thing and then rejoin back in again. So the topics with the most votes are the ones that we're going to be discussing first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timer up for about 5 minutes, and we're going to have a free discussion. Whoever had that one will kind of kick it off and kind of introduce the topic a little bit, and then we're going to have like a general roundtable discussion regarding that particular topic. After the timing is done, we're going to do a quick vote. Either you can go on the camera with a thumbs up, or you can use the reaction mode, and you can vote the topics through. If we continue to decide to vote, then we'll put another 3 minutes on the clock and then continue talking about the conversation. But if everyone kind of votes it down, thumbs down, then we'll put it off to the side, we'll pin it, and we'll move on to the next topic. And we'll rinse and repeat this process until about 9:45, 9:50, and then wherever we're at, we'll be stopping, okay? At that point, we're gonna be going through a plus delta, and we'll kind of lock in the learning that we had today. So, you know, what did you like about the session? What did you dislike? Were there some things that you can sit there and give us some ideas for improvement? Because this is a lean session, and we'd like to pursue continuous improvement. And there could be something in there that we can use for the next session as well too. And then we'll clap hands at 10 o'clock, and we're done. Please feel free to use the reactions if you have it. If you're on the app, you should have access to this. If you just have the web access, you probably just have the thumbs or the hands up. On that note, this is the part where we start to create topics. Now, you can start doing it now as I talk, but what you do here is you just hit this little plus button, and you just start adding Kanban cards and typing away. Now, your Kanban card or your topic can be whatever you want. It can be anything about lean, if it's a challenge that you're facing, or this one in particular was the nuts and bolts of lean. So if there's an example of something that you'd like to see, like a pull plan board, or you want to see some pictures or whatever, we have a bunch of lean practitioners like myself and others who are prepared to share and kind of draw the curtain back and kind of show, you know, here are some of the things that we've seen that have been quite helpful as well too. So anything and everything on the board, go ahead and ask. You know, even if it's not something about lean, maybe you're thinking about, well, do you think the Oilers are going to make it past the second round? Who's going to win, Flames or the Oilers, right? Or, you know, what about Mitch Marner got carjacked? Poor Toronto. But I'll give you guys about 2 to 3 minutes to generate topics, and then we'll start to vote them through. I use this kind of silence to again promote, save the date in your calendar. June 17th is going to be our last lean copy of the season. Again, we're going to have the co-author of the Lean Builder come in to give us a presentation, Joe Donnarumma. That'll be a really cool one. Another cool thing, save the date, is coming up in June is the CDBI LCIC National Conference. It's running from June 15th to 17th here in Edmonton. You're going to have some of your very own in there. Brian McEachern, Shafraz Keba, and myself. We're going to be promoting our lean coffee there in a presentation on June 16th and at 3:45. And we'll be talking about, well, how do you start and promote a healthy and sustainable community of practice in your area. Another really cool one that's coming up is the IGLC. Doesn't happen very often where it's going to be here in Edmonton. And this is a really cool one to attend. And I did put the date on there. But if you hit the link on the pin board, and also put the link in the chat, this is a really cool one to come up. Oh yeah, it's July 25th through the 29th. And it's a really, really special one. It's the International Conference for Lean in Construction. I really highly recommend attending this one. And I give a shout out to our sponsor, the Edmonton Construction Association. They do a whole lot of different stuff, but again, if you have any printing needs, don't go to Staples or any of those other places. Go downstairs, see Dave Ross, tell them LeanYEG sent you, and you'd be surprised at what you can get there for all of your printing and banner needs, posters, what have you. And also he's got a free bowl of chocolates there as well too, right? And he's just a really chatty guy to talk to as well. Go see Dave. Cool. Right. Got my stuff out of the way. And we got some pretty cool topics. Looks like we got what are some resources that others are using in their awareness to train others? How do we get more traction with Edmonton and why? Slow down to go fast. How to pause and think strategically. After being in the virtual world for the last couple of years, how are your teams adjusting to being back in the office? Another one here is how do you choose what metrics that matter? What are your favorite tools and how do you use them specifically? Standardizing communication. How do you get everyone speaking, the same language, so to speak? Some lean celebrations from your past month. What has been the most challenging for you, a challenging lean process that you've experienced? And last one here is what are some major roadblocks to lean? Really good topics here, and I'm going to set it up for voting. And we'll gather the results. Awesome. Okay. So I'll just re-tag these and put them in the order here. Looks like the first one that we're going to be doing here is how do you choose metrics and what matters to them, followed by standardizing communication and what was the most challenging, and then how about some lean celebrations, and then slow down to go fast, and then from there we'll see where we're at. Here's the first one. So how do you choose metrics and how they matter? Whose question was this one in particular?
I think that was mine from last time.
Oh yeah, I had some of them that were in there from before that we didn't get a chance to talk about. But if you want to kick it off here, Christina, and then we can have some discussion about it.
Yeah, so I was kind of wondering how you all choose the metrics that matter to the thing that you're trying to promote. So obviously you want to choose metrics that promote the behavior that you're looking for instead of metrics that just promote more profits and more things like that. Because usually good behaviors lead to better profits and those things in the end. So, sometimes we all struggle with choosing a metric that actually matters. I don't know how else to say it. So I'd love your feedback anyways.
Well, I'll say, money obviously is a good motivator for some people, especially people who are invested. So like owners, managers, those kinds of people. But when you're looking at like workers or, people who don't care necessarily as much about the bottom line, what I did with my past A3 was I used a combination of time as metrics, as well as getting everybody to kind of give me a scale of like 1 to 10 on how happy they were with how that process functioned that week, right? So kind of looking at it hand in hand, it gave them a better perspective of like, yeah, I saved 3 hours on this task and I'm no longer a 5, I'm an 8 on the happy scale. So it like that encouraged more progress or more interest in changing. But I think at the end of the day, it's really like looking at people's motivations, right? And individually. So, you know, some people are motivated by different things. And I would say if it's, you know, a big group of people that you're looking at, then kind of generalize and find the most likely motivator for all and use that as a basis for your metrics, right? That would be my suggestion.
Thanks, Sarah.
What are you measuring right now?
That's the question. What should I measure?
Oh,
It's a loaded question because if you're asking it, you're probably not measuring anything. But
Correct.
Very true.
What is Karen got her hand up for there?
Oh, yeah, actually, I wanted to ask for more information about what Sarah just said about what she's measured. And I'm curious, like the human factor in measuring how happy people were. Do you do that anonymously, or do people know what each other has thought about that? Like, so if someone's like,
Oh.
they used to be a 3 and now they're 8, does the whole team know that? Or do you just do like an anonymous poll so that you don't actually know who it was who is happier or who is sadder?
Yeah, good question. Like I don't make that info public, so yeah, that would be anonymous.
Yeah.
But basically I just survey the, you know, 11 or 13 or whatever I had people that had been contributing like wholeheartedly to my E3 from the beginning. And then I just average it out. So, you know, of the 13 of them, if they each went up even half of a score, it's the whole of the group's, you know, feeling of happiness is going up, right? So even if one person was like, this is garbage, like worst payroll of my life, I hated it, the average might still go up because everybody else enjoyed it, if that makes sense. So like that feedback is of course still like beneficial for me and how I'm, you know, tailoring my A3, but you know, everybody else gets to see the success or the non-success, right? Which was surprisingly really beneficial. Like especially with a process like an A3, you know, it's a roller coaster, right? And in the beginning, there's so much change and learning curve. There's likely to be a dip in both happiness and, for me, time, right? Like the time increased and happiness decreased because you're learning something new and it's hard, right? But being able to see that was nice because then I could mitigate it right away and be like, hey guys, yeah, I know this is hard, but let's push forward and, you know, see what comes next. And then it was just all uphill from there. So it got over that hurdle that I think a lot of people get stuck at, and usually where like any kind of change or progress just dies, right? So
Sarah,
yeah.
do you mind if I put your A3 on the board there?
Oh, not at all. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to executive decision this one, and I'll put another 3 minutes on the clock, and so you can kind of go through and because this is the one's prepared to share, and so I want to make sure people can kind of see the nuts and bolts of things. Throw it up here. Whoa, it's massive. And so if I'll lock this down so someone doesn't move it by accident. So here's Sarah's A3, where she was talking about trying to, actually, Sarah, why don't you walk us through your A3 real quickly?
You want me to go from the beginning?
Well, if anything in particular about how you decided, you know, which metric to go after and how you're able to then determine whether that metric was giving you what you expected or not.
Okay. Well, I guess overall there's, you know, 3 metrics technically because I wanted to show the hours, I wanted to show people's happiness, and I wanted to show what those hours translated to in dollar value, because I had, you know, 2 basic groups of people that I was trying to sort of sell on the process of the A3. So I had the owners and managers who care about those dollar amounts. And literally it's all they saw when I went through my A3 with them. And then, you know, coworkers, people who work for me, they cared more about the hours and happiness. So how I got there was, the first half of my A3 was like 6 months of figuring out what I'm even deciding to do and how to do it. And I got a lot of feedback from people on, whether they gave a shit, basically. And without the hours in there, nobody cared. They were like, what's the point of this change, right? Like, yeah, I get it. There's a crack and it's painful for you, but it's painful for you. Like, what does it matter to me? So the metrics, I think, helped in that respect, like getting feedback from them and what they wanted to see was what really pushed me towards that direction, I guess. And then if you look at the second half there, the results, so you got my little schedule, like with the Gantt chart showing kind of the process, like what the changes were over time, the things that we were trying to do. And the results, of course, my owners are like, holy ball sack, like 104,000. Okay, like we like A3s, these are good. But then everybody else is looking at the hours and the happiness and going, okay, yeah, like our hours went down ridiculous amounts. Like we've saved 100 hours on this process. That's freaking nuts. And then looking at their happiness, like, yeah, it was terrible. Like, and look at it now, like, yeah, of course we always have something to improve on, but way, way, way better. And now it's like sustainable happiness. It's not, a roller coaster anymore. So, that's kind of where I went with metrics, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah on that particular one?
No, but just it's the most fantastic A3 ever.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying it's the most
you.
beautiful A3 I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
It
Is that your
lovely.
artwork?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. I've redone it about 12 times.
Wow.
I felt really bad about having her erase some certain things. I'm like, oh, you colored it already? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's quick. It doesn't take long.
That's a piece of art.
Oh, well, thank you.
I will
Yeah,
say
but-
this, though,
You know what? I'm more happy about the content.
if you're
I'm
choosing,
having a hard time getting into the content. I'm loving all the colors and
Thanks.
if you're trying to find a metric, what B said is like, are you actually measuring something right now? Like, what are you currently measuring? But, I would even tag on to that and go, like, what's causing you pain, right?
Mhm.
What's currently causing you pain right now, either for you, your team, or your business? And then craft a metric that's fun and engaging, so you can kind of enter into a scientific mode to determine whether you're making changes to that metric, right? And then once you're there, then you throw the metric away. You don't need it anymore. Otherwise, that can kind of become a little bit of an over excess stuff, like waste you don't need to do if you achieved it and you've got to where you need to go. And so what I really liked about Sarah's was that she was going after hours, which is what her sponsors were telling her, and she's going after happiness as well too. And that's a qualitative way, but we're able to just do quick counts. Like, hey, everyone, and at the end of the day, Friday was it a thumbs up or was it thumbs down? And if it was a bad day on payroll, everyone's like, I can't wait to get into the whiskey, right? Or it's like, no, I can't wait to get into the whiskey, so to speak, right? And so find these if go for something that's causing you pain, and then craft something that's engaging and fun. Otherwise, if it's not fun and engaging, you're not going to be able to sustain it over the long run, because this one was like 6 to 8 months in the making for Sarah, right?
Yeah.
I think it's also worth looking at the concept of what are the leading indicators and what are the lagging indicators. And I'll just explain what that means, because I didn't know what that was when I first got introduced to the term with lean. But it's like a good example would be if you were trying to lose weight, your leading indicators might be how many days per month or per week did you exercise, and your lagging indicator is like, did you lose weight? So you might want to look at, like, if it's about quality control or something in your shop, maybe it's that how many jobs did we do where we followed standard process and like check it off. And then your lagging indicator might be how many jobs did we have where there were, or like, how is our deficiency rate doing, or whatever it is. But it may be easier to, like, if you don't sort of separate out what the leading and the lagging are, it might be hard to actually figure out how to measure, because you might be thinking of only the lagging indicators, but you may want to think like, what's going to contribute to the results of the lagging indicators? Like, what are your leading indicators that lead to that? So anyway, hopefully that made sense.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good
really
point.
good, right? It's like
Yeah,
you've
you're
got a
focusing.
goal.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you got a goal. You want to lose some weight, however much weight that may be. Lagging indicator. And the leading is how many calories, how much food did you put in your face? The less food you put in your face, the more likely you're probably going to hit that goal.
Yeah. Or how
I
many
like
times is a
the-
donut party, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I like seeing that positive side though too, right? Like you're not just saying like how much did it go down, but also how much did it go up, right? And I think that it's like a psychological thing, right? Yes, we like it when things go down for sure, because it means that we've got less excess, less waste, less blah blah blah. But it's also nice to see more, right? We're humans and we like to, we're greedy. So like it's nice to see some kind of a level increase, right? So if you're doing that, then and it's a positive increase, it feels good, then yeah, I 100% agree. I love that. Like I think that's why I got so much feedback on the happiness versus the hours. Was, yeah, the hours are good to see that, oh yeah, we've saved hours, but it's like, how did it make me feel? And like look at the mountain that's increasing. Like that's awesome. It's like
Well,
Smog getting his gold.
it's correlated to productivity. People are happy, they're happy to produce.
Totally.
And to get rid of frustration.
Yeah.
And it actually frees them up to be a little more creative if they're not so stressed out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love measuring the happiness. I love that idea. That's
Yes.
fantastic. So.
Well, there's another one. I'd bring it up if I could. Zig Ziglar did a really nice video, happiness and how to measure it. I'll say the obvious, the standard metrics for lean. It may just come out of manufacturing, but quality, cost, delivery, safety, and morale. It's usually just quality, cost, delivery, right? But companies over the years have added safety and morale. So
Yeah, that's a really good one, especially now with this kind of a great retention going on, or the great resignation going on. Hitting that morale portion of it and the happiness scale is so key.
Well, and it's key too, because we spend more time at work than we do at home. Like if we're not happy at work, what the hell is the point? Like go on the ice,
That was before COVID. Now COVID, I think we spend more time at home working.
Some people.
All right. I think I extended that one a couple times, executive decision. So I think I'll pin this one and move on to the next topic. And the next topic was standardizing communication and how to get everyone speaking the same language. Whose topic was this one in particular?
That was mine.
Okay. Did you want to kick this one off, Sarah? And then I'll start the timer.
Sure. Not that I haven't already talked enough. So this came up recently. I noticed a pattern with a lot of the like conflict or problems that we've had internally mainly, but also externally. And I'm finding like this, I could be crazy, but it feels like a root cause of like people just aren't saying the same things. And without the standardized words for stuff, which seems crazy because we all speak English, but like just not using the same terminology for things, not explaining things the same way, not writing things similarly, like just basically overall not communicating in a way that we're thinking about what other people are going to be understanding or getting out of it, is creating like a ridiculous amount of deficiencies and conflict and problems. And I'm just noticing this problem now. So I kind of wanted to see you know, if you guys are experiencing this or have experienced it, and if, you know, anybody's come up with some kind of a way to standardize language or, you know, way of getting people to be on the same page when it comes to communicating thoughts, ideas. Yeah, I know this sounds really like, I don't know, vague or existential or something, but it's been a problem.
But are you like talking sort of job site specific communication, like we're going to do X, Y, Z, and someone thinks we're going to do A, B, C, or is it just sort of generalities?
I mean, in a lot of ways, I see that as a problem. Especially lately, I've been seeing lack of connection between people talking about what's happening in the field to administrators who don't understand what happens in the field. So it's like without the common language, you know, me in the field, I'm saying, yeah, I did all of these things with these material and it was this footage and this is how much it cost. And in the office, they're going, what the fuck does that mean? Like, pardon my language, but all they see is the dollar because they don't understand the rest, and then they don't get the context, right? So I don't know, like that's just one example, but I'm just seeing that there's a lot of disconnection all throughout. It's driving me nuts.
You need to have some Gemba walks with your admin people.
Oh shit, yeah. Man, I'm swearing a lot. Sorry.
But when I put this on YouTube,
like if they don't know what's
not for children.
Yeah,
that's right. You'll have
18 plus lean coffee.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like have a Gemba walk or even a virtual Gemba walk to, you know, say this is what I'm talking about, because if there's a disconnect.
By Gemba walk, Karen, like because some people may not be familiar with that terminology.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's like to actually go to where the work is being done and see how it's happening. I mean, in terms of lean, it can be to how to, you know, see where efficiencies could be had or where is their waste and stuff like that. But it's getting the people out to where the work is happening and seeing the work. So that might be where you need to drag some people by the ear and get them onto site. Like not every day, but just to say, look, this is what we do, by the way.
You know what would be cool too is the reverse. So like guys in the field who, you know, all they do all day is work on the tools and look at plans and whatever, for them to see like the couple ladies in my office and be like, okay, what are you looking for here? Like, what are you reading? What are you understanding about this? Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like a reverse Gemba. That'd be cool.
And I mean, some of that could be done virtually so that you're not doing a lot of driving back and forth, but you know, to say this is the spreadsheet I have to fill out and I need you to tell me exactly these things. So can you please produce it in the information the way I need to be producing it in a spreadsheet? Yeah, that's a good point. You know, just this week I had a whole discussion with someone about a miscommunication where they thought one thing, we thought the other, and we thought we were being really clear, and they just had it differently. And it was just not even on our radar that they didn't understand what we were saying. And then it became a problem later. So it's like, oh, geez, like, I don't know, honestly. I'm this particular situation, I'm a little stumped as to how we could have done it differently. But yeah.
No worries. I'll put another 3 minutes on the clock there. V, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just thinking of starting out with lean. Part of my job was to spread the thinking, and so I came up with an idea just to kind of do a daily, and it was way too much doing a daily. Just a little daily email with a comic strip. So I just grabbed different Far Side clips, and I put it in there. But I would also just put a word and put the definition for that specific lean word. So people get a look. They probably looked at the cartoons more than read the definition, but that worked. I did that for a year, daily. But then I had all those emails as well as a resource, so I could just recount and put it back out. And another thing I found is that I need to use the language myself, right? In conversations, group conversation is to use the language. And I found myself defining the words I'm using quite often up front. But as I got going along, people just go, yeah, get it. Yeah, I know that. Okay, great. Excellent. I don't need to define that word anymore. And you'll notice it's working when you can hear the conversations going around. It's like, oh, they're using these words. But there's a danger there as well, where you start that lean speak, and where everyone just speaks lean, but they're not actually doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
a
like
good
buzzwording. Yeah.
That's a Val 90% of the time.
90%.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm
a good,
strong.
a
It's the
good example
10%
was I was using
that
Gamba
gets me
without
going.
explaining it. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah, be pedantic. I dig that.
hmm Another thing is to like, if is to reiterate back to a person what you think they just said. So like, what I'm hearing you say is blah 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 blah, and then if they don't agree, then you're not saying the same thing. So I know it's not you necessarily, Sarah, that's directly having the issue. It's you.
Mhm.
It's two other teams, but to encourage them to repeat back to the other team what they think they heard, because then they're putting it in their own language, and if then hopefully that means they're both speaking the issue in their own language and can come to like an understanding that it may not, they may not be understanding the same thing.
Yeah, I like that. It could create some light bulbs, right?
Yeah.
Like, for them to go, I'm hearing this, and they go, whoa, 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 not at all what I meant. That's going to trigger, okay, I'm obviously not saying it in a way that you're going to understand it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's lean or if it's just general management, you could chase after a commonality. And I really like what V did there with. I like what V did there with the comic Far Side. That's like brilliant. Love it. But yeah, the danger is people start to speak it, but they don't really act on it. So, and you could chase for a commonality language all the time, but the thing that's causing you pain is that people or your teams, there's a disconnect, there's a gap,
Yeah.
right? So us as leaders, lean leaders or leaders of change, when we identify that gap, we need to act on it right away and challenge ourselves. And it's hard because you just want to go, oh, we assume that they got it, but they don't, right? And so just to circle back and go, like V was talking about, define it a little bit until they go, no, I don't need you to define anymore. I got this, right? So you get that feedback. So solicit that feedback in, and I think that will help with the standardizing communication or the everyone speaking the same language type of thing. That's solution based. If we go problem based, people aren't understanding me. How do I do that in the moment, right? And do different ways of delivery, and it's going to change for each different person, and it'll change day by day depending on people's mood. Because some people like, yeah, I love Far Side, and then one day they're just like, oh man, another Far Side from V, like, and then the next day, I love Far Side, I can't wait to see Far Side again from V, right? It's just a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for the feedback, guys.
I'll throw this one over to the next. Next topic is, what was the most challenging lean process you have experienced? Whose was this one in particular?
That would be me.
Hi, Cherry. Do you want to introduce
Hi,
this one?
Yes, I was just kind of, with overcoming COVID, and with everybody starting to getting back into
I'm
such a
sorry,
long.
Sherry. Do you mind speaking up a little bit? It's hard to hear.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Just yeah.
Okay. So for the past, like, 2.5 years, I mean, I'm sure there had been some, where everybody had a lot of challenges of implementing lean. So I was just kind of wanted to pick everybody's brain to see and find out, like, what was the most difficult, like, experience that you've had during this COVID that has been, a challenge to you guys that you've experienced during at this time now that we're overcoming it. So.
Okay. Why don't we just do kind of like a popcorn circle around here? Everyone kicks it off.
Well, I'll start unless you want to.
No, go ahead, B.
Okay, so it's just a general inertia. So inertia, it's like, how do you move people? How do you help them? How do you help them think better? And that's just an ongoing theme with lean. And for me, it kind of relates back to the standardized communication. How did we get where we are today? Well, it's 100 and plus years of command and control, leadership, management. That's how we've got to how we speak today. Hundreds, or maybe it's been thousands of years. I don't know. So it's that inertia. Biggest challenge is overcoming that inertia. It's how do you get this to people whose brains are physically wired to lead from a command and control style?
Nice one. That's a really good one. V, why don't you popcorn it to the next person then?
Okay, I get the popcorn to I don't know everybody's name here. I'll go with KN.
That's Karen. Go ahead, Karen. What's
Or
your most challenging
that's
one?
Christina, actually.
Christina,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Alphabetically, Karen's first. But my most challenging lean process has got to be anything to do with getting the leadership or the management group to do a lean project together where they would lean out their process. It's really easy for them to go in the shop and say, okay, let's lean this out. Let's pick away at these little things. But as soon as you turn it back on them, sometimes it's a challenge. So, like V said, you know, they're pretty set in their ways. They have their ways of doing things, and when you try and challenge them and change them, it's more challenging because they're in charge. So
Yeah, it doesn't mean they can't change, but what is that? What
absolutely.
is that thing that's going to get them to choose? Because really, it's a choice. We can't
Exactly.
make them do anything. We can just give them everything we got, and then they got to choose. But how do we help them to choose?
Choose logic.
Choose
Not
without
emotion.
consideration. Choose without considering what am I gonna lose
Yeah,
by allowing some of this power to go away from me.
exactly.
I have a, sorry, I'm totally interjecting. I have a t-shirt that's, well, again, speaking of being 18 plus, this t-shirt just says in really big bold letters, "Science fucker." And I have worn it in meetings before. It's a power move. Sorry, continue, Christina.
No, that's good. I was going to pass it to you anyways.
Oh, you know, echoing what you said, 100%. Agreed. That has been challenging, you know, for the last few years. Absolutely. Personally, one of the biggest lean challenges I had was like the existential crisis that I had during my A3 process, which like all of our group doing A3s had the same thing, but at different times. And it was like when we were, I guess, in the beginning stages of trying to figure out what to do and how to do it and whatever, it was like, what the hell am I doing? Am I even good at this? Like, can I even make change? You know, this process is so difficult, and is it worth my time? And I'm just a failure. Like, it was bad. So that was I'd say that was a really big challenge for me, was being in a role where, you know, you're trying to push change, you're trying to make things happen, and you just have this moment that I think everybody feels in lean, which is like, what the F am I doing this for? You know, am I going to succeed at this at all? Is there even a point to success? What does success even mean? And you just like spiral down a rabbit hole until, you know, something clicks and you go, okay, yeah, back on track. Like,
that's a nice one, right? All of us as change leaders get to that kind of valley of despair. And while it's not a process in particular that we're working on, maybe it's an internal process that we're working through.
Totally. Yeah. And especially like for those of us who are perfectionists, lean is difficult, like very, very difficult, because we're looking for, you know, an end goal of amazing. And yet we should be changing our way of thinking and looking at things differently in terms of tiny wins or even not wins, looking at the science behind things as opposed to success, quote unquote. So yeah, there's a lot of philosophy and braining, and
You can't boil the ocean.
Yeah, it can be really painful.
Who should go next?
Let's do Karen. Karen, go next.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean, people have said things that echo my thoughts as well on some challenges. One thing I sort of find that I see sometimes is internally we have a weekly check-in to see what are people working on their lean things. So some things could be quite big or some things could be small. So no one's sort of doing A3 level stuff, but sometimes I feel like it's very token, like they're doing something because they know they have to report in on a weekly basis. And it's so the struggle is to like how to really make them feel engaged with it and like, really feel like I'm doing this because it's an improvement. It's going to make my life better or our company better or whatever, instead of just like, oh, I'm doing this because I have to report on it on a weekly basis. So it's just getting people out of the lip service and actually engaged with it is can be a challenge. So yeah, and I mean, I think I probably fall into that category myself occasionally. I'm really busy and I have to do a check-in and then I'm like, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? So I'm not saying it's only others. I fall into that as well, but yeah, just how to really be engaged. Yeah.
Well, you're making me think, Karen. Just was reading the other day, just kind of the history of Toyota, and what was it? Help me out, anyone that can. With they're bankrupt. They're gonna go out of business. They decide to lay off a significant size of the workforce for Toyota, but they guarantee them jobs for life. But they also have to contribute to making improvements.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
that
that
was
was kind of
the rooftop
like
speech.
the rooftop. Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah. So the president of Toyota he laid off everyone, and he had them all up there on the roof. Those who were laid off and those who had a job, and he said that those who are still employed, we're going to guarantee you lifetime improvement, but you have to, put this improvement in place so we can hire all these people back, right? And because laying people off back then was very, they didn't want to do it, right? And that was kind of like an impetus or one of the things for driving their continuous improvement or their improvement or their innovation journey as well too. What we now call lean, when they call the Toyota production system.
Yeah.
So
So what I get out of that is there was some win-win there, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get to keep my job and I get to keep it for life and I get paid better and you're going to take care of me as a company and I just have to help you improve and commit to that. Okay.
Well, they kind of made it life or death, eh? Like improve or like you're screwed,
There was a little bit of a Birdie platform moment there, yes, but there was a synergy as well too.
Mhm.
Which came first, chicken or egg? It's kind of hard to say which who should go next, Karen?
Oh, I'm just like Vaughn, you've been able to speak. Did you want to add more to that, or do you feel like you've had your say? V?
You said Vaughn.
Oh, sorry. It's how you show up on the mirror board. So sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
V.
Okay. Yeah. No, I
Mhm.
think Shafraz, we haven't heard from Shafraz.
Go for Shafraz. What was your most challenging lean process that you've experienced?
Really, I think it's coordinating teams to stay on pull planning on a regular cadence and trying to ensure that they don't, just take it for granted. So what we've discovered is the weeks we don't have time because of we run out of time to get a reflection on the pull plan, all things fall apart. So, and I think that goes for a lot of things that have been online or hybrid these days. Is like we have to really focus on how people interact and how to keep sort of the team chemistry going, and ensure that people have sort of a point to check in and to sort of also speak about plus deltas or fix what bugs them on projects.
Well, I'll add a little more to what Karen was saying. I think it's great that you've actually created some accountability where it's part of people's jobs to make some. That's really, really important, and don't stop that ever. Never stop that, because they'll eventually get it. It'll click, because it's that thinking. They're thinking about this. They're thinking about, I got a goal, I got a report, I'm accountable. What do I do? So they're spending time thinking. The longer they spend thinking about it, the more likely they're to take action and do something. And the more likely they're to take action over and over again, the more likely they're to create that mindset of lean, and they will get it. So that's great.
Yeah, no, it's been very good for keeping our culture active, especially over COVID and being working virtually and stuff like that. I like what you just said, Shafraz, though, about like the discipline of the pull plan. And I do find like you can set up a really beautiful pull plan, but then if you don't ever go up and update it, it's not helpful. And it takes discipline. And actually, it's funny when I hear about, I'm not familiar with the last planner system entirely. I've heard, Brian has presented a few aspects of it and stuff, but the last planner system is like what we think of as like the pull plan, as well as like weekly stuff and like the big schedule, and they all have timing points, and I just think I don't have the discipline to hit all those timing points, because it seems like it's complicated to be updating things in the certain time points, but it takes discipline, yeah, to do it. And it's hard to, you have enthusiasm for a few weeks on it, and then it just kind of slides off and everyone kind of forgets about it. So yeah, how do you make it so it happens all the time? Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and, Karen, don't be afraid to call your team out as well too. Say, hey, that kind of sounds like it's kind of a token checkbox thing.
Yeah. True.
Or yourself, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, and we people, like, the thing is people are pretty honest. So they'll come to the check-in, they'll say, you know what, I didn't work on anything lean this week. I was just really busy with project work, and that's fine. Like we're not like there to shame people or anything. But yeah.
Oh, but shame is so fun.
Yeah,
But
it's called creating that accountability, like what V was talking about as well too. It's really good, but you can add an extra layer to it, right, and get really really into it. I'm the last one to get to share for this one, most challenging process. So I'll kind of go into this. The lean, most challenging lean process is actually the sustainability portion of lean, especially people were seeing this during, after, like during COVID, everyone is not around. Kind of links into Karen's accountability thing, but as well too, during that time, there's a lot of people that were being laid off. Unfortunately, a really sad portion of it, and then a lot of lean inertia, lean momentum died, right? Because now, you have this kind of how much money do I spend that's direct billable versus indirect, and obviously when you're doing improvement processes or internally, you can't bill that back to a customer. So when I have this time I should be spending on versus this time, and if I don't go on billable work, then I might be the next person on the chopping block, right? So I would say the most challenging for me is making that connection that there's value in putting the tools down, putting the billable work down, and spending time working on improving it and investing into your process, investing into your people. It's very, very healthy, not only for your team and your culture, but for combating stuff like, the great retention, everyone leaving the work, but as well too is like, happy people are productive people. there is a side benefit to it, and then making those connections between, here's Jane and Joe working on something, and how is that going to equate to time, cost, quality, that type of thing, but even some of the more qualitative stuff. So for myself, it's the challenging thing is making those connections to create more runway for people to spend more time in that when it's the darkest, right? It's really easy when money's you're being hit by the money gun, and there's lots of clients and all that kind of stuff, to be able to sit there and go, okay, I'll put this down and sit there and do improvement work. But when it's really dark, where people are being laid off, you don't know if you're next, how do you keep that inertia going at that point? And that's the resilience portion of it. And so that's where you kind of put a little bit of a life coach hat on, or you kind of have to make that leap of faith that it's still going to be there, because the same stuff that you'll see when times are good, you will see it when times are not so good as well too.
Well, thank you, everybody. That's all been very informative. Everybody's collaboration and just ideas. It's been an incredible, learning experience for sure. For a very long time that I haven't, because the challenging parts, certainly for me, is when the sustainability. It certainly had been the biggest challenge, the biggest thing to actually go ahead and keep track of, and even also learning more about lean and a little bit more of putting more together of your skills and everything, and implement lean towards that when you gain a new experience or a new skill. It's to be able to put lean into that as well as try to mold it. Those have been the challenging parts for me. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks. We only have time for maybe one more topic before we get to plus delta, so I'm going to pick and choose this one timely. What about some lean celebrations from your past month, or lean celebrations that you think was really, really cool? Let's get a couple people to comment on this particular one. What did you like, or what was a really cool one, or maybe what was a really bomb one that was like, we did a lean celebration and that did not go as intended, right? Who would like to kick this one off? We'll put about 5 minutes on the clock, and then we'll go to plus deltas.
Well, this was my topic, so I guess I should go first. I recently completely eliminated a couple steps in a process, like automated them so they don't have to be done by a person anymore, which was huge, because it's like these 5 people are doing this task, and it's 4 hours a day that they were spending on it.
Holy moly.
It was a really big accomplishment for me, and I'm really proud of myself.
That's awesome.
High five. Good job.
It can be
Fantastic.
done. People
Yeah.
don't have to do everything. Sometimes the computer can do it for you.
I love robots.
So how did you celebrate it?
Well, I celebrated myself personally, just, jumping up and down and being excited about it. But the people who do the work normally were the big ones celebrating, obviously. So, yeah, it went pretty good. I don't know.
That's awesome. Good for you.
What do
Plus,
you guys-
you knew what metric to measure. It was hours. That
Yeah.
was
Go.
Yeah, they needed more time to get the actual work that only
Yeah.
people can do done, right?
Any other celebrations anyone wants to share that they've done that was like, yeah, I crushed it, or how they did it as well too?
I can share just about, so people who maybe heard my presentation a few months ago about our office and our lean journey know that our weekly plus delta is the whole company is really important part of our lean culture. And we had been doing the plus delta in person before COVID, and then we just quickly flipped into virtual, and we were doing it on Zoom and Teams through virtual. So now actually many of us are back in the office, but we still have a few people who are working virtually, because we actually have some people who are not living in Edmonton. So we're still virtual. And so, yeah, we had our first hybrid plus Delta, where we had people in person and people virtually. And it's just really exciting to know that we're evolving with what's going on with it. And I would say there were some hiccups, so we still need to iron out the details on how we can make the virtual people not feel like they're a second thought, because that is the dangers of hybrid meetings, is that the in-person people kind of, sort of focus on the in-person and to keep the virtual feeling like they're equals. So yeah, we still have some more work to do, but it was kind of exciting to have the first hybrid one. So it's
That's
a
cool.
fun transition. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have some lean celebrations they'd like to share?
I do.
Great. Go ahead, Sherry.
Just
And then we'll go with B.
yeah, and just getting back into the basics, and after work, it being in an office and still having that lean, that lean mentality to actually go ahead and make sure that now that when everybody's now back in the office and even at home that you implemented, you can still actually um, get back to the basic of what you learned and keeping it simple and to the point. So that's at least a small celebration for me. But
Kicking off the bus.
yeah,
B, what was your celebration like to share?
thank you.
Yeah, this is just something I keep feelers out there. Like I mentioned a little bit about the management thinking about the construction industry. Why do people think the way that they think right now? And it's not because they changed their mind yesterday. It's been gradually forming and changing over hundreds of years. So I got to hear something the other day where people are challenging this status quo of this traditional management thinking, uh, not knowing what to supplant it with. But it's a lean mindset. Really, companies are going to be successful if they can adopt a lean mindset, So just anytime I hear anything like that, that's a celebration. That's a move in the right direction. It's not going to be overnight. Maybe it takes another 50 years before the world companies really value people and value people's ideas and encourage people and get them involved and start stepping back, let go of some of the power that they have and that they're you know uh, Sarah said it, people are greedy. They want more power, right? How about if we just have a little less power? How about if we share some of that power? Right? I think that's partly what lean is about, right? I mean, it's sharing that power.
Mhm. I have a little win. That A3 that I showed you guys, finished it at the end of March. And this past month, one of my project managers tried to disrupt it. And he tried to change a process with my foreman, and they all like revolted. They were like, no, we've seen this success. We know that this works. F off, man. Like, go do your own work. Like, leave us alone. So that was a huge celebration for me. It was like, you guys actually bought in, finally. Like,
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really
Nice.
shows that they value the change that you implemented, Sarah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
100%. It was really validating more than anything else. It was like, going back to that existential crisis, it was like, yeah, no, that was crazy. This is cool. It's working.
Well, it also sounds like you got everyone involved in that as well.
For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to stand up for you.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of nice. It's like being April and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Like,
You're surrounded by turtles that can kick your butt.
yeah, there you go.
True enough. Okay, we're at the portion now of our plus deltas. So if you go to the board here, bring everyone to me. If you can go here and you can add Kanban cards, just like we did with topics, and then add in plus deltas. So plus, what did you like about today's session? What do you want us to continue doing as lean-yeg? Or did you have an aha moment, or this was cool, and I really walked away with this kind of nugget of knowledge? Or delta, what did you dislike? What would you like us to stop doing, or what would you like us to start doing? Or was it something that you really disliked about this session, or something that you're like, what, this was stupid. Never talk about this again, please. Put that on there. So the price of admission for a meaningful conversation today is 1 + 1 delta. I'll let everyone sit there and put stuff up on the board, and we'll give her some opportunity to generate this. I'm going to use this time here to, again, plug our next Lean Coffee. It's coming up June 17th with Joe Donnarumma. He's going to be presenting. He's the co-author of The Lean Builder. And I really got to put out a thing to our sponsor again, Edmonton Construction Association. Printing services is just one of the things that they do. But if you need any posters or printing done, go see Dave. Tell him LeanYEG sent you. Looks like we got a lot of plus deltas in here, so I'll let everyone kind of like popcorn it around and freely share what was your plus, what was your delta. Who would like to go first?
I can kick it off.
Great, thanks, Karen.
My plus actually was that the popcorn format for some of the topics, because I enjoyed hearing everyone speak, and it's unfortunately sometimes when everyone's enthusiastic, the quieter people don't always get a chance to speak. So I thought that was a nice way of doing some of the topics. So yeah, that was my plus. I'll hand it off to Shafraz.
Okay. Well, my plus was seeing the most amazing A3 that Sarah did. Holy crap. Wow. Brilliant. I honestly, if we can show and share that, or if we, Avel, is there like an A3 contest we should get Sarah to submit to? Because that was phenomenal.
Well, you could turn it into a great infographic, right? As far as how A3s actually work.
Yeah.
Just get rid of all the actual company information.
But seriously, well done.
The best A3s are the ones that you don't have to read.
Exactly. Like it was very visual and compelling, and some of the A3s I've seen just make me not want to dive in. But yours was like a compelling cartoon that you want to read the whole story. Delta, I guess maybe we should be in person. Are we doing too many virtual things when I think people are itching to be in person? So, all right. With that, then Sarah, go ahead.
Well, thanks, guys. Feedback that I got for my, issue with the communication was rad, and I'm definitely going to use that. So thank you. That was a huge plus. And weirdly, plus and delta was that we had less people than we normally do. Delta because, of course we want more humans, but plus because I think that created a really good, intimate conversation. Yeah, which was really awesome. I really enjoyed that. Like Karen said, with the popcorning, getting to hear from everybody, nobody just sitting in the background, was rad.
You get to choose the next person.
Oh, Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, so my plus is just getting to pick all of your brains. You're all so knowledgeable and enthusiastic, and it's just awesome. It's the best part of this whole group. The only delta I had was the choosing a song thing. That was just too difficult for me personally, so.
Oh, but you hit it out of the park, though.
What was it, Beethoven number 5?
Yeah.
Dude, that's memorable.
That's how I was feeling in the moment, right? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, sometimes you have to say what just first comes to mind. Yeah.
That's Icebreaker, right? Gonna thaw you out. Okay, who should go next, Christina?
I guess it's V is next.
Yeah. So I really love the A3. Yeah. The more I look at it, the more questions I have. Like, what is the Gong Show, and what is Sarah Jail? Are you the octopus? Are you do you eat people or what?
That's a Kraken.
Anyways, yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
I know you want to tell us what the Gong Show is and Sarah Jail, but
Well, you can always reach out. I'm here. I'll go through it with you if you want.
I think the only Delta was just the technology a little bit, but I mean, you sorted that out really quick with a copy and paste of a link. And I'll just add, part of the Calgary Construction Association, they've done 2 months back in person, so they're not doing it online anymore. I encourage you to do that, and I'm part of some other groups as well where they're doing hybrids, so they'll do once a month in person, and then the other 3 weeks they're online, virtual. And yeah, with the Calgary Construction Association, there's nobody online because they're not giving that option, but they're getting good turnouts. It's really weird and it's great, right? To be back. You've seen these people, you've seen them for years. You haven't seen them for a couple of years, except for on a screen. So it's really energizing for sure. So I wouldn't be able to make the Edmonton one always, but consider that. With the other group I belong to, they moved to once a month in person, and they've done it twice now, but they get larger enrollment online. So most of the people there, they want to stay online, right? They don't want to be going downtown. They don't want to be driving, parking, blah, 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 blah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is the current dilemma. Yeah, no kidding.
Who should go next, B?
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
just you,
everybody.
Avel.
Just
Just
about.
me?
Yeah,
Oh.
just you.
All right. Oh, well, my plus again. I love seeing everyone, but really hearing from the community is the best one, and how we can make changes to what we offer. And I love it that we have some cross pollination with Calgary and some people from Vancouver as well too that joined in our COP. And I try to join in the Calgary one occasionally as well too, or the Vancouver one. So that's always a good one. The Delta one is the technology. Like that's one of the things that I have been struggling with since COVID is how to get that engagement with people virtually and to utilize technology, because we run into technology issues where some people are using the web app or whatever. And how do I do that in such a way where you still get that same vibe that you have. And so I'm looking forward to potentially going back into person, because then with plain stickies and going around a coffee table, it's easier. Selfishly, it's easier to sit there and do than it is virtually. It almost seems like I need a team behind me sitting there pressing buttons and stuff like that. You can see me like I'm listening, and then at the same time I'm typing and doing all this other stuff. But I can't do that.
Trying to monitor 6 screens.
Yeah, it's difficult, but that's just me commiserating. Wow, wow, wow.
You make it look easy, Avel.
That's
Yeah.
the Delta.
That's my Delta. That was my Delta. Is just like, how can I find a way to get in there? But let me leave this off here with us again. Our next Lean Coffee is June 17th. Please go in there and check it out. Also, as well too, I will be sharing a copy of this on the YouTube page. So those of us who couldn't attend, please share those links out to your sphere of influence, and let's see if we can grow this movement of trying to challenge the status quo, right? Whether it's lean or something else, I think one step forward is the best path, right? On that note, everyone have a very happy and safe long weekend. Enjoy the sunshine that we're going to get. If you're watching hockey, it's a really good time to watch hockey. And I'll see y'all in a month.
Go
Thank you.
Oilers, go.
Go Oilers, go Flames. Those are the only
Okay.
teams, right? That matter.
Thanks, Avel.
Bye.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job.
Thank
Bye.
you.